Hey guys, you're listening to Metal Matters, a weekly gimme radio podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hill. If you like metal, punk, hardcore, or anything extreme, you've come to the right place. So subscribe and never miss out. Hey everybody, another episode of Metal Matters is coming at you. This week we got my good friend Sammy Duet of the mighty Goatwhore. It's a band that I've respected and loved for years, decades. One of the hardest working bands, one of the greatest live bands you'll ever see. It was great to catch up with Sammy. We talked about his brand new forthcoming limited LTD guitar, which, he's had a relationship with ESP for quite a while now. And he's got a brand new signature guitar coming out. And then we talk about a bunch of records we dig. So let's have at it. Goatwhore is always really busy. You know, you guys are on tour constantly. Every time I look, you guys are out on the road somewhere. So in the face of all this, quarantine, virus bullshit, have you guys had to cancel anything or anything like that?
Actually, no, which is pretty crazy. It kind of worked out to where we didn't have to cancel anything. I think we had some shit towards like the end of the year.
Yeah, the end of the year might actually be optimistically looking forward to the end of the year as a possibility of getting back to doing live stuff.
Yeah, but it's still it's still up in the air as well. You know what I'm saying? We might just call it and just be like, the situation is what it is. We wouldn't want to go and like do these shows and have like the fucking promoters lose money because, okay, let's say it's going to be in a 400 capacity fucking room. You're only going to be allowed to fucking let in like 100 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's totally true.
So, I mean, it's, 100 people isn't what the promoter's going to be expecting, and with the money and all that bullshit. So we might just pull all the shit and just be like, fuck it. We don't want to fuck nobody over, and we'll just keep on taking our time writing,
Yeah, that's probably the most reasonable like path forward, I think.
Yeah, it does suck because I'm fucking going crazy and I want to fucking play in front of people and jam out and shit, but that's not an option at this point. But I'm just trying to make the best of a bad situation.
How has this stuff affected you in general, man? Like, things, the whole country's all fucked right now.
In general, it didn't really affect me much because I don't really, when at home, I don't really go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll go to a show like once a month or 2 months or something. Something comes in to town that I'm interested in. But, I don't really, I'll go to the grocery store and shit like that, but it's not like I'm some social butterfly or anything, Yeah, so right. It's like, I basically just stay home and fucking fuck with my guitars and fuck with music, basically. I don't really go out a whole lot,
Well, with that said, I heard that there's a new Goatwhore record that's possibly on the horizon. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. We have a lot. Well, actually, we were scheduled to go in before this shit happened to go into the studio. And some things happened. We decided to push it back, you know what I'm saying? Just because, I've always had this fucking thing to every album I put out. There's always been one or two songs on the record that I listen to after the record's done. And I'm like, man, if I only had like a month or two more, I could have made this song so much better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was kind of those moments when we were getting ready to actually start booking recording time. So we just kind of pushed it off and said, well, let's wait a little while longer and let's tighten up a couple of more songs and see where that goes. Then this shit happened. It's like I don't really have a choice but to work on the new songs now because we're not going to be going in the studio anytime soon. So, but we have a lot of shit, but I just want to make this record the best record I could possibly make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not trying to make it, I'm not saying that this is going to be our Rain in Blood or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I just want it to be the best possible Goatwhore record could possibly be. It's going to be all over the place, musically. There's a lot of fucking punk shit. There's definitely a lot of more black metal sounding stuff in it, more kind of like the older style stuff that we're dabbling in. And, it's kind of all over the place. You just gotta have to wait and hear it, man. I don't want to give too much away,
That's actually my favorite stuff that you guys do when it's got more of that crusty sort of like old school like sound,
oh yeah, there's a lot of that. Trust me.
Nah, it's cool. I like that. You guys have been a band for a really long time, and it's just with respect to Ben, I remember seeing you guys play when Ben was still going with Soylent Green, and Goatwhore was almost like this, this side thing. And now this is the main thing that is like really like this is like you guys are like really at like a level right now where most people, I think, when they think of you and they think of Ben, they think of Goatwhore. They don't think of like your past bands that you were in. You guys were both in some great bands.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how it worked out like that, right?
Yeah.
Because, you hit it on the head, it started off as like just something to do when, I was in Crowbar at the time and then was in Soylent Green. And it was just something to do on our off time from those bands, and, we took it seriously. It wasn't like something that it was like a joke or just like, we'll do it when we have time. We're constantly working on it. But, it wasn't something that, we didn't expect it to get to where it's at right now. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome though, cause it's sort of hit right at the right time too. Like when, like you guys have been putting the time in, putting the years in to the band. And then, black metal was sort of, still very underground. And then there was a couple of years where certain bands got to be, like bigger commercially. And I think that kind of opened the doorway for bands like Goatwhore and other bands to like have that sort of, to enjoy that sort of success,
Yeah. But what's weird is, it's like, we've always been like talked down upon in the black metal circles. It's fucking, all these people talking shit about us, like, oh, they're not true black metal and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, whatever, fuck off, idiot,
Yeah. Oh, I know. But, I know that feeling.
It's fucking stupid, I'm not, it's like, dude, you're not fucking, well, maybe they are, maybe it's just a bunch of 13-year-olds just talking a bunch of shit that don't know that live in their mom's fucking basement, They don't realize, actually what this shit is really about,
Yeah, totally. But
and speaking of which, the new Tombs record is fucking fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I mean, we're actually going into, I really, coming from you guys, I appreciate that because I look up to both you and Ben and the rest of the band. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I heard it when it came out, and I was like, it's different than the oldest stuff. It's like, it seems like you streamlined it more, became more focused with the new record, and it shows, and it's fucking sick, dude. It's fucking great, man.
Dude, thank you so much, man. It's like, I was just ripping off what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like
I'm just ripping off Celtic Frost and fucking Venom. So
that's what we're both just ripping off Frost and Venom, and that's how we do it.
Just go straight to the source.
And you've been with ESP for a while now, right? Like that's been your sponsor for many years.
Like it's been, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 10 years, somewhere around there.
What's even more awesome is you got a brand new limited edition LTD coming out, signature guitar, and
yes,
Brand new. It's not released yet, though, right?
No, they're in the process of, I think, like making it right now. So being with the shit that we're dealing with right now, it's kind of hard to get guitars from Asia to the United States.
I bet.
So right now, it's definitely, the wheels are definitely in motion. Everything's fucking green light. It's good. We're just waiting. I'm just waiting for a prototype to come in to approve it and make sure that everything's good on it. Then we're gonna do 30 of this particular one, and it's only gonna be available through Chandro Guitars. It's a guitar store in Wisconsin somewhere. I want to say.
Okay.
So this guy that owns a store, he only deals in like custom shop, like one of a kind, like top of the line guitars. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't deal in any like imports or like cheaper guitars. Like a cheap guitar in his store would probably be like $3,000.
Yeah, that's still pretty.
So
pretty
yeah.
decent price. You know, it's like a decent amount of money.
So what he did was he ordered a custom shop version of one of my ESPs,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, wow, it's fucking insane. That, you know, I never expected anybody to actually do that. You know, and he ordered one, and it's like a replica of like one of my main ones that I've been using for years. And then apparently the response to that, he hasn't gotten it yet, but he posted somewhere on Facebook or something like that he ordered it. And then the response was like fucking, like really fucking crazy. So he was like, so what do you think about, you know, instead of doing the fucking $5,000 model, do something that's a little bit cheaper and do the LTD version? I was like, yeah, let's get with ESP and put our heads together and see what we can come up with. And that's basically how it happened. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 30 of these guitars, and it's going to come with like a special kit, because they had to make the case differently.
Right.
Because it's such a wacky shape, they had to make a special case. So Tony actually was like, well, being that we're going to have to make the case custom basically anyway, why don't we do like a graphic on the case?
Oh man!
So we're gonna do like the big coffin graphic that we have on the fucking case.
Damn.
So the case is gonna look pretty fucking sweet with the guitar, you know. So it's gonna be like a complete package. It's not like you're gonna get just some plain old fucking gig bag.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a nice case with a big coffin with some satanic symbols on it.
That'd be
with
sick,
the guitar,
man.
you know.
Yeah, it'd be funny if you got this awesome guitar and you just got this fucking cheap ass like gig bag to put it in. That'd be funny.
I hate when that. I've had that happen before, actually. It's like I paid fucking $4,000 for this guitar and I got a fucking gig bag. It pisses me off, man. So, you know, we wanted to do something where it's a complete package, you know.
So I was looking at a picture of this thing, and it's it has maybe like a Iron Bird, like basic kind of shape to it. Is that right?
Kind of. Well, I originally saw this shape because I've always been a fan of like the Iron Birds, and I've always been a fan of like the regular stars, like the dude from Loudness plays and stuff. So I was in Japan, and we did like 3 shows in Japan. Like this is a long ass time ago, man. This is like on our second record touring cycle. And we went to this fucking store. It was actually a store that was in this huge mall in like Tokyo. And it was a guitar store that was fucking enormous, but it was just guitars. There were like no drums. There was barely any basses.
Oh wow!
You know, it was fucking insane. And shit they had in the store was fucking crazy. And I actually saw the ESP, the shape that I used. They actually had an ESP production model in that store, and I was like, "Holy fucking shit! Would you look at that fucking thing?" but it was like super fucking expensive, and to get the guitar back to America would have been a fucking pain in the ass, and it came with a gig bag.
There
So
you go.
flying from Japan to United States with a gig bag on a brand new guitar, I wouldn't have been too happy with that. But I played the guitar in the store, and I took down the model name. It was I think the model name was like the RS320, and I always remembered that. And I was like, when I got the opportunity with ESP, I was like, well, I got a couple of ESPs from them. I was like, well, would y'all can y'all still make this guitar? But like, I'll tweak it to my specs and stuff. And they're like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's an ESP model, so go with it. And that's how I actually saw that shape. And that's the shapes that I use now,
Yeah.
But yes, it is very reminiscent of an Ironbird, but I think it's a little bit more, how can I say it? It's not as chubby looking as the Ironbird, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's got this like sleek kind of vibe to it, like very very sleek looking. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Where the Ironbird's kind of chubby in the middle,
Yeah. As far as like the bridge and all that kind of stuff, and like what kind of got like Seymour Duncan's in it. Like what's the other technical stuff going on with this guitar?
Yeah, I got this. It's gonna have the same exact Seymour Duncan pickup that I use. It's the Seymour Duncan, the Blackout Metal.
Yep.
It's not the regular Blackout. It's a Blackout Metal. I think it's an AHB2, which is definitely a more intense pickup than the regular Blackouts. So we got that in there. It's going to have stainless steel frets on it. It's going to have a Floyd Rose tremolo with all like stainless steel hardware on it, because the regular Floyd ones, as I've learned from touring so much, the regular Floyd hardware on it kind of tends to rust and strip out like after a year or two.
Yeah.
But then they started making stainless steel replacement hardware for it, which I've never had any issues with at all. So I got to do a Floyd Rose. Basically, this is as close as to a custom shop version of my guitar as you're going to get. So,
And it's only this limited 30. It's literally only through Chandro Guitars. And,
yes.
Okay, cool. So how can people get to that if they want to order it?
ChandroGuitars.com.
Okay.
And I think he's all over Facebook, and he's all over fucking Instagram and stuff. So basically all I have to do is type in Google Chandro Guitars, and some information should pop up, and just go and bug him.
Cool. Man, 30, that's going to go quick.
That's what he was saying. But ESP was actually talking about, if these 30 go quick, we're going to do a regular production model like that you'll be able to get like at Sweetwater and stuff like that, just like in any store. But they're going to be I don't want to make it exactly like the limited 30. I want the limited 30 to be special to those that got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we do a full production model of this, I'm going to change some things from differently from the first 30 that came out. Maybe like a different color, or possibly, something like that.
And this one's black, right? The limited one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But the other one, it has like binding on the neck and inlays. And what I was thinking about doing, if we do the full LTD line that you're able to get actually beyond the 30, is maybe doing like a flat black one with like no binding, just completely solid black, possibly like no inlays on it.
Oh yeah.
Or possibly like maybe just one inlay on it or something, just like make it different from the 30, but still look fucking sick,
Yeah, actually that style, the flat black, I got one of those, like they got those black metal LTDs that came out. I got two of those, and it's got that same finish on it, which are pretty cool.
Yeah. I have a few. I got one. What did I get? I got the Arrow one.
Yeah, that one's sick. I have one of those.
Yeah, that's fucking real cool. But I got a couple of older ones when I first got with ESP. I think they were called like the NV2.
Okay.
and they're flying V shape, but they're flat black. But they came with the fucking. It's like they weren't completely solid black though. They had like this weird pearl binding, and they had like iron cross inlays, and had that fucking stupid Taylor tremolo on it. But yeah,
right on.
The flat black ESP finishes, they do a pretty good job on them.
Yeah, I like them. You know.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So, what I've been going through in this whole quarantine scenario is really being thankful that I have my records around me. And but then again, I think like, what happens if like I was in a plane crash or something and I got stranded on an island, and I only had a certain number of records to take with me. And I figured I'd ask you, since you and I probably like a lot of the same music, what records are must-haves if you were in an isolated situation on a desert island?
Jesus Christ. That is fucking difficult, Mike. Fuck. Like the 5 of them?
Yeah, something like that, like 5, you know.
Fuck. Well, first off, definitely To Megatherion by Celtic Frost.
I think we can all agree on that.
That would have to be there, you know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Second would probably be Drawing Down the Moon by Beharit. That would have to be
that's like their go-to record, man. That's
It's such a fucking good record, though, man. You know, the first time I heard Beharit was actually my friend, the original drummer for Goatwhore, Zach Nolan, actually ordered the cassette of the Oath of Black Blood when it came out. Like, this is like the early 90s.
Yeah.
And he ordered the vinyl, but they didn't have the vinyl, so they sent him the cassette instead. And we had no idea what this band sounded like. You know what I'm saying? He bought it because the album cover looked fucking cool.
Yeah, no, it's got a
so
great album cover.
We put this album on, and we listened to the whole thing. We listened to side 1 of the cassette, and then we're like, this has to be the most evil fucking sounding band we've ever heard in our life. Because it's like the Oath of Black Blood just has that fucking weird production, and all the vocals are just like fucking like, it's almost like they're whispering through a distortion pedal.
Yeah.
And then we flipped it over, and it's like the first song on side 2 was Beast of Damnation, which is still to this day, in my opinion, the most evil song that's ever been recorded, ever. And that song came on, and we were just like, dude, this band fucking rules. And then like a year or 2 go by, and Drawing Down the Moon came out, and we didn't know what to expect from that either, you know? Because we were like, is it going to sound like the Oath of Black Blood? And it kind of did, but like they refined their sound. They became more focused, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I heard that record, Drawing Down the Moon, it was just like, this is possibly one of the greatest records ever recorded, you know? It's just something about the entire record, like, the songwriting, the performances, the sound on the record, it's just like they hit the mark on each, you know, facet, where it was just like, I don't know if they meant to do that or if that was an accident, but it just came out. You know, if it came out any differently, it wouldn't be the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, that record seems like it has almost like it's like a slower, like more mid-tempo kind of vibe to it. You know what I mean? There's like,
yeah,
you know, and it's that's the same thing I love about Frost, is just like that tempo that they work with. I feel like on that Beharit record, on Drawing Down the Moon, it's the same kind of thing. Whereas like the older records, like more fast and kind of frantic sounding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, like I said, it seems like they kind of, for lack of a better term, it seems like they found their bitch on that record. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like to where the older stuff is like more chaotic, and it's like not to talk shit on them, but it sounded like they're almost struggling to kind of play, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of the charm. That's kind of the charm of it, to where Drawing Down the Moon was like the musical performances, like you could actually, understand what they're playing, rather than like some of the older releases. There's moments on the older releases where you have no idea what the fuck is going on,
Yeah.
I don't even think they know what's going on, But, that record is just, I'll Nurgle from Behemoth told me one time, we were talking about this record, we were talking about Drawing Down the Moon, and he described it as a glowing, the record glows. And that's a good way to describe it,
Yeah.
It's a very illuminated record,
Also, I feel like there's a lot of bands. I feel like Beherit is a band that, like, the world of metal is kind of caught up to them now. Like, there's I felt like they were so much ahead of their time, and now there's like some of the newer bands. I mean, they're not really new, but a band like this band Impetuous Ritual, like that's they kind of have like a similar thing like Beherit, and they're like a way newer band. So I feel like like that sort of influence that they had is like projected like into the future. Because I mean, I think this record came out like 90 or 89 or something like that, like a long time ago.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah. Somewhere on there. But yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about, to where it's like, all these youngsters are starting to catch up with our old asses.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, that Beherit was around, you had bands like Sarcophago and Blasphemy that were very similar in style as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a thing going on to where there was three bands kind of had this interlocking kind of mental thing when they were writing,
Yeah, totally.
To where, they were all very similar, but had their different aspects that definitely made them, where you could hear a Blasphemy record and not confuse it with a Beherit record or a fucking Sarcophago record,
Now with Frost, you guys toured with Frost.
Yep, that was I could die after doing that tour.
I was gonna say, man, I know how important Celtic Frost is to you guys, and that must have been a trip.
Yeah, it was like that point in time, it was fucking insane for Goatwhore, because we had did the Venom tour before that. Well, Kronos' version of Venom.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 weeks with that. So it was like, we're stoked on that. We're like, fuck, man, what's going to top this? Celtic Frost. And then fucking a couple of months later, it's like, oh, you got this tour with Celtic Frost and want y'all to tour with them. So it was like, it hammered like twice right there, saying, it's like, holy fuck. Then it's like, right after that, we got the two Emperor reunion gigs.
Oh man,
that happened in California. So it was just like Venom, Celtic Frost, Emperor reunion. And it's like, all right, the only thing that's really I hope that something comes along. It's like, what's gonna come next? Like Motorhead or Slayer or something like that. But obviously that didn't happen. But that was a good touring cycle right there. That was like the happiest I've been in a long time, and during that period of time.
Yeah, totally, man. And that record actually, I like that record quite a bit, Monotheist.
That Monotheist is fucking heavy as hell. That's why I really like the Triptychon stuff.
Oh yeah,
because it took where they were going with Monotheist to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And, I really liked Monotheist, but when I heard the Triptychon stuff, I was like, yeah, that my boy Tom G ain't letting me down, man.
Yeah, the Triptychon's got like more, that's like they added more layers of stuff to it, than what they were doing on Monotheist, and expanded it a little bit,
Yeah, I think they were kind of, this is just my opinion, but I just think that they were kind of experimenting with Monotheist, that they really were just kind of just rolling with it rather than having a set concrete idea. to where, I think Tom really, zeroed in on that idea that he started with Monotheist and took it into Triptychon. It just made it, more of what that was,
Yeah. I really hope at some point Triptychon comes back to the States, man. That's it's been a while since I've seen them play live.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times. It's always been awesome. I love the Triptychon stuff. And it was last year at Psycho Las Vegas, Hellhammer. Tom did that Hellhammer set.
I remember
that was fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that it feels like something like that would be like a once in a lifetime event,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just seeing Hellhammer, that's another thing that I never expected to experience in my life, is to see Hellhammer live, and it was fucking awesome, man. I was like, I feel sorry for the people that were around me when they were playing. Let's just put it that way. Because I was, needless to say, I was having a pretty good time,
Yeah, man. That's what's you got to enjoy life while you have life, man.
Absolutely, spoken like a true prodigy, Mike.
All right, so we got Celtic Frost, 2 Megatherion. We got Beharit, Drawing Down the Moon, and what else we got on your list here?
Oh man, it'd definitely be a Plasmatics record. There has to be a Plasmatics record in there. It would man, but which one?
I would say
probably
the whole thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to choose a favorite because they're all such different records from each other. But if I had to choose one, it would probably be Coup d'Etat.
Okay, yeah.
That would probably be, if I had to choose one, like just like this is it. That would be the one to choose,
Let me ask you a question. Are you? I know. Are you fans of G.G. Allen? You a fan of G.G. Allen?
Yes, I am actually.
Would that make your list? Anything by him?
G.G. Allen? No, the Plasmatics would beat out fucking G.G. Allen.
All right. Okay. Cool.
I mean, I liked G.G. Allen, but I like the Plasmatics music more.
You know what I really like by G.G. is his acoustic stuff.
His acoustic stuff is pretty fucking, it's something you don't expect, It's actually really good songs,
Yeah,
But, I mean, Gigi's cool and all that shit, but, I've always, Plasmatics are probably just my go-to punk band. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, being a New York guy, I have to give props to the Plasmatics too, for sure.
Yeah, man. And what sucks is that this was when I was growing up. They had a concert out here. It was Kiss on the Creatures of the Night tour, and it was on Mardi Gras, so it was a big deal. And the Plasmatics were on that tour.
Oh wow.
And I just heard of the Plasmatics right before they announced that tour had happened. And it was in the Superdome. It was a big fucking deal and all this shit. And I was like, dude, this is going to be fucking awesome. The Plasmatics and Kiss in the Superdome. I was a kid. I was stoked. Then I think 3 days before the New Orleans show, the Plasmatics dropped off the tour.
Oh, man.
Yep, exactly. So that's really sucked.
Now, Creatures of the Night was that Ace Frehley. That was he wasn't on that one. It was like Eric Carr, I think.
Ace Frehley was on the cover, but Vinnie Vincent was actually playing guitar on the tour. And I'm not sure who actually played guitar on the record. Somebody said I'm not the biggest Kiss fan, so don't quote me on this. But it was like either like Rick Derringer or somebody. It was just some session guy because like Ace Frehley just wouldn't even show up to the recording studio anymore. It was just at that point in Kiss' career where they were just like over it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So So Ace Frehley didn't even like show up to the recording sessions. So they just got like this. They just hired this session dude to play on the record. You know what I'm saying? Then for like the live thing, when they did the tour for that, that's when they hired Vinnie Vincent.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I think that Creatures of the Night had I think like War Machine was like the song I like on that record.
Yeah, War Machine's a great song. They had I Love It Loud on that record.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of really good songs on that record, you know?
Rick Derringer, that's the rock and roll hoochie coo guy, right?
That's him, man.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Wait, no, I might be wrong. I think actually Vinnie Vincent might have actually played on the record, and that's why they got him to do the tour. I don't know. I'm not a Kiss expert like some people, so I'd
like to think. I like to think of Rick Derringer and Kiss, though. That'd be kind of cool.
I know he did do some session shit on some records because fucking Ace Frehley was like either just didn't show up to the recording sessions, or he was like he got there and he couldn't play because he was just fucked up.
Yeah.
So something like that. Maybe it was like on Destroyer or Rock and Roll All Night. One of those records, Rick Derringer had to fucking play in the studio for Ace because he couldn't.
Yeah, Ace is probably my favorite Kiss member, honestly.
Yeah, I agree, you know. He's always been my favorite, you know, but he's always been the fuck up, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's my favorite, because he's been the fuck up, you know.
Yeah. All right, so what else we got here? We got Plasmatics, we got Frost, we got Beharit. I don't know. It's a short list so far, bro.
Yeah, probably Bethlehem. I'm a big Bethlehem fan.
Which version of the band, man? Which version?
Bethlehem, Dictus Tina Care, the second record.
Nice. Okay.
That record would have to come on the Desert Island with me, without a doubt. That's one of my absolute favorite fucking Bethlehem records ever. The new stuff, I heard a couple of songs, it's pretty close, but there's something about Dictus Tina Care that's unsettling. You know what I'm saying? There's some underlying darkness on this record that's, you could tell that these dudes are definitely unhinged mentally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man.
It's just, and I mean, every other record they did, they're good. Don't get me wrong. But that record in particular, to me, it just seems like these dudes were seriously fucking insane, you know? Just the vibe of that record is just fucking dark, and it's just evil, you know? It's just the songs, like the riffs on that record are fucking unbelievable, you know? Like, especially when they're doing like the kind of like doomier kind of stuff, the riffs are fucking untouchable, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that actually about the doomier. There's like almost like a Sabbath kind of thing going on in some of those riffs. And
yeah, man, that record is a very, very underrated record. You know, not a lot of people know about it, and a lot of people should know about it. You know, because that record is just, that's a very, very, very dark record. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, I think the vocalist, he wasn't on the record before that, which their first one was dark metal, right? That was their first Bethlehem record, and they had a different singer on that one, and then on this one, they had this other guy, Rainier something or other, and and didn't that guy commit suicide or something like that? I might be wrong.
No, there's a bunch of fucking rumors going around. He's and there was a rumor going around that he like there was like a picture of him on the record where, you know, there's like a slight glimpse of like a woman's leg and like this blood on his hands. And there were like a rumor going around that there's a picture of him where he killed this chick, and that's bullshit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, bands like that are surrounded by, you know, rumors of, this guy, you know, killed his fucking girlfriend and blew his head off. That's bullshit, man. It's just rumors. Yeah, it's kind of like that whole who else did that fucking shit? It was that band Silencer.
Yeah, I heard of them. Yeah,
when apparently there was a rumor going around where the singer for that band like killed his brother, and they put him in like a mental institution and all this shit. Which, I mean, I think the mental institution thing is true, but he didn't kill anybody. But it's like, people like to make up rumors like that. But the singer on that second Bethlehem record, it sounds that's another very appealing aspect to me. Is his fucking vocals on that record are fucking. It sounds like he's being burned alive in certain points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I forget what song it is. It's towards the end of this record where he hits this scream that's it like I know only one other person that can do a scream like that, and the guy isn't like a musician or anything. He just like it's a scream from like the back of his throat that is like so fucking tortured sounding. But he only does it like this one time on the record. I think it was like an accident because it's like the way he screams, he's screaming so fucking hard and putting so much intensity into it that I guess like his voice cracked in this weird way to where he hit this note that's just fucking insane, But yeah, the vocals on that record are fucking untouchable, man.
Yeah, it sounds like he actually hurt himself on this record, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he definitely wasn't taking it easy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I imagine like this guy is in the booth, just going for it, and they just hit play and record, and they just capture like whatever this guy's doing. I don't feel like there was like, all right, take verse one again, and then I'll punch you in. I just feel like this guy was just going for it the whole time.
Yeah, and that's exactly the vibe that it has, to where it wasn't like, well, that take was better than this one, but it just kind of hit record and fucking do it, and whatever comes out, comes out, So I mean, that's possibly the case,
Yeah, it seems likely to be honest with you,
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of just go for it. Fuck it. But, I mean, it came out fucking fantastic. It's still that vocal performance as far as like that, suicidal black metal. That vocal performance cannot be fucking touched by anybody that I've heard yet anyway. I've heard a lot of people try. There's a lot of dudes that try to go for that kind of thing, but they don't hit the mark like that dude hit it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Okay, so where are we at now, man? We got any more?
What was that, 4?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, fuck. Well, man, this is hard, Mike.
I asked the hard questions, Sammy. What do you think we're doing here?
Oh, man. Let me think of something good. Shit, man. I got one. Cathedral Forest, The Equilibrium.
Their first album.
That would definitely have to fucking come with me on a desert island.
Yeah, man. Lee Dorian, man. Right after Napalm Death. That's like a complete change for him,
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think what was weird. Somebody was telling me a story to where the dudes in Napalm that you thought would be like the biggest grind heads were like big like fucking doom metal freaks. Like Shane Embury and Lee Dorian were big doom metal freaks, and the other guys were like the fucking the grind fucking fanatics.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of weird how that works out. The people that you least expect to be into all the super intense shit is into like doom metal. But that record is just, the first time I heard that record just fucking floored me, man. Like I knew it was going to be a doom metal record, but I didn't know it was going to be that kind of a doom metal record. I was kind of, I read some stuff about it, and they were talking about, kind of like Witchfinder General and Candlemass and, kind of like Trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, let's check it out, and then I put it on, and I didn't know it was going to be a doom metal record, the quintessential doom metal record, because I thought it was going to be more of like an upbeat kind of doom rock kind of thing going on. I didn't know it was going to be like that fucking slow and that fucking heavy, because to me, in my personal opinion, I think that record should be when you say doom metal, that record should be the fucking blueprint.
I think it kind of is, actually, for that style, at least. It's, you got to think about the time it came out, and that. I mean, I don't really get into a lot of their other catalog, Cathedral, but Force of Equilibrium is fucking a standalone, like, classic record, in my opinion.
I agree. They kind of changed a little bit as they went on. And the records are still good, but it doesn't have that. They weren't. I think they were more focusing on trying to be a rock band on the later releases.
Yeah. Rather
than on that release, they were just like, "Fuck you. We're gonna tune down the guitars as low as we possibly can. We're gonna play as slow as we possibly can, and come up with the heaviest riffs we could possibly come up with." I think that was their focus on that record.
There was
yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there was a record that came out like, how long ago? Like maybe 10 years ago by them, called Garden of Earthly Delights, I think it was called. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one, actually. I need to go back and check out their other records. The last one that I heard, and it was still pretty good, was oh god damn it, In Time.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one either, so I should check that one out too.
Yeah, that one has some pretty it has some Forest Equilibrium moments on it. It's not the whole record. The whole record isn't like that, but they definitely, they're definitely revisiting that again. Which I found to be awesome.
Cool. All right, so we got one more left here.
One more left. God dog it. Let's see. Oh man, let's see.
What about some real classic shit, man?
I got one. The first Danzig record.
Oh,
that would definitely have to come with me.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Danzig self-titled Frost record. That record would have to come with me. No, without a doubt. Hands down. That record is one of the greatest rock records ever recorded. Like, if you think about this, like, that record came out right around when the Cult, remember the Cult?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
When the Cult got fucking huge.
Yeah.
If they would have lumped in Danzig with like that Cult crowd when they were getting giant, Danzig would have been fucking gigantic, man. But, that's what I think anyway.
Oh yeah, man. I remember when that record came out, you're right. There was, there was two Cult records that Electric, which Rick Rubin produced, who also produced the Danzig record. And Sonic Temple. And I think Sonic Temple was like when they got propelled into like multi-stardom, when they toured with Metallica, like on the Injustice for All tour on that record. And then I remember after that, the Cult was playing like fucking gigantic like venues and shit. But it's funny, man, that, Danzig, Samhain, Misfits, like all that stuff. And then this record, which is a rock and roll album, like a dark rock and roll album in the spirit of like, you know how like legit like blues music is like fucking evil, and it's got like, selling your soul with making deals with the devil and like all this shit, like all this like darkness.
Mike, Yeah, well, that's where I live, Mike.
Yeah, I know, man. That's why I know you know, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's totally. When I hear that record, that makes me think. They sound like they could be from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily the New Orleans metal vibe, but it has that. If you've ever been to the city, it captures the feeling of this city.
Yeah.
Which is like the dark side of the city, you know what I'm saying? And I guess that's why I'm kind of always like drawn to that record, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's a one of a kind.
It definitely has that blues kind of meet at the crossroads and sign your name in a fucking with a drop of blood kind of thing going on, you know what I'm saying?
But the thing about that record too that makes it even cooler is like in the 80s, like right around that time, that record coming out, like 86, 87, that was the height of like, bands like Guns N' Roses who have a blues base, but were more into just like the kind of rock and roll, like party, like vibe without the darkness that the Danzig record had. You know what I'm trying to say? And
yeah,
it's almost like there was if you take like a really like upper view from the whole thing and you're not really connected to any of these things personally, like you and I know Danzig as being from like the punk world and we know Guns N' Roses as being like, hard rock guys. But if you looked at this whole thing from like a really high viewpoint, you can put them all together somehow, except that to me, the Danzig record would be like the one that really has like lasting power though,
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic. I mean, you could put that on at a fucking party and everybody would start having a great time, you know?
Yeah, man.
It's like, it definitely has that crossover appeal to it. Like you're talking about, like it could have been accepted by like a Guns N' Roses guy just as much as like a fucking punk guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I just think that like maybe Glenn Danzig himself, like if somebody, and I like Guns N' Roses. I think Appetite for Destruction is a great record, and I'll go to bat for that record. But if you take a guy who's into that world, that scene, and he goes to see Danzig, it's apples and oranges. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe it won't work.
Well, probably not. No. That record is it's like every song on that record is fucking phenomenal. There's not like one. There's always that one song that you're like, eh. That first Danzig record, every fucking song on that record is fucking outstanding. That's what made that record so special to me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I come from the age where, you listen to a whole record all the way through. And it better be a good goddamn record to listen to the whole thing the whole way through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that record definitely, you could listen to it twice, because it's just, the songwriting is fucking just, it's simple, but it's got that something that you can't scientifically define it. It's just there, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But that record, it's fucking everything from top to bottom, start to finish on that record is I think that record could have been fucking gigantic if maybe it was like the wrong place, the wrong time or something like that. But that was like, even to like an AC/DC fan, that record would be fucking awesome,
Yeah, totally. I could see that.
It's just one of the greatest rock and roll records ever recorded, I think anyway.
I would have to agree with that, man. That's always been one of my favorites. Even Danzig too, I think is great. Both of them together.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. The Danzig 2 was, but this one I liked it a little bit more because it was a little bit more raw sounding. You know what I'm saying? Like the production on it, everything just sounded fucking huge. You know?
Yeah, and it was like real stripped down too. It had like it sounded huge, but also stripped down. You know, the guitar tones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that like Marshall like guitar tone on it, which I dug. You know.
Perfect. Yeah, just plain, just plug a Les Paul into a Marshall and nothing in between it. Just go to town. You know.
Yeah, man.
But the second Danzig record is fucking awesome too. But it's a different vibe from that one. You know, the songs on the second one are fucking awesome. If they would have took the production of the first one with the songs of the second one, I would hate to see what would happen, man. That would be fucking mind blowing, you know?
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, it's amazing record, and I would love to have heard maybe a remix someday. You know, maybe Danzig will remix it with a different production on it. You know? Yeah,
and not that the production's bad. It's just that first one set a standard with the way it sounded, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just came out fucking, production-wise, it came out perfect, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you mentioned AC/DC, so it's like, I'm a huge AC/DC fan, and I love the way those records sound, and I think that Danzig's the first Danzig, has like that kind of Mutt Lange, like, very stripped down, kind of raw, like, vibe to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You could totally get that. You know, you could totally, be like where they were like, look, make this record sound like a fucking like Back in Black. You know?
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's your list, and that's a pretty solid list, if you ask me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, right about now would be the time I'd ask what you guys got coming up next, and I guess the recording is the next thing on the block for you guys.
Yeah, apparently, there's not really much else for us to do but to focus on this and get this record out. We're still writing a lot of stuff, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
You can never be like, oh, I have too many songs for the record. You could always just, that's our plan, is just to have a fuckload of songs that we feel strongly about and just pick the best songs out of those and use those for the record.
Yeah. No, that's a good place to be, man, for sure.
Yeah, that's our game plan.
Well, thanks for taking time out, Sammy. I appreciate it. And talk
to you. I appreciate you, man. It's good talking to you again.
Hell yeah. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Metal Matters, a Gimme Radio weekly podcast. Tune in next week to see what we have in store for you. The show is available on all streaming platforms: Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, etc. Also, be sure to check out Gimme Radio, streaming on the web, iOS, or Android, for one of the best metal communities, exclusive merch, interviews with artists, and so much more. I'll catch you guys next week. Take care. I've got stolen the start of all endings. I want the top, but my mouth still so blow.